WagerTalk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid WagerTalk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?
Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Carmine Bianco, and this is Stoppage Time World Cup edition. A lot of match day 3 games this week. A lot of surprises, but we still have 3 games to cover. We're going to cover one more match day 3, and then we're going to look at the weekend round of 16 games where the Netherlands take on the USA and England takes on Senegal. With me from WagerTalk.com, it's Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. And of course, from Sports Memo, one of my favorites, Pavlos, Laguretos. Let's bring the boys in. They're probably watching what's going on in the games right now. There's some live games going on. Morocco just took the lead over Canada. If you didn't know the score, I'm sorry that I ruined it for you. It's 1-0 on a goalkeeping error for by the Canadians. Guys, some surprises, man. Not really surprises, but Argentina got there yesterday. 2-0 win from losing their first game to winning the group, which I was pretty happy about. And then, of course, Mexico lose that or win the game, but get eliminated. That goal by Saudi Arabia in the 95th minute literally prevented FIFA from having to go to the 7th tiebreaker to decide who gets into the knockout stages, which would have been yellow cards. And Mexico had, I believe, 8 yellow cards at that point, 4 for Poland. So it would have been Poland that got through regardless. But the 8th tiebreaker was, I believe, Pavlos. They put 2 names into a hat and they just draw one. Okay. Yeah, well, next year, next World Cup will be held in Canada, USA, and Mexico. And with the expansion of 48 teams, we're sure to see some lockups in some of these groups because I believe they're groups of 3 as opposed to groups of 4, with only the top team advancing. So I'm sure at some point we're going to see some of these tiebreakers have to come back into play. Nick, how are things going for you, my friend? Nice performance by you yesterday on Wager Talk Today with Teddy and Lawrence.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good show on Wager Talk Today. Gave out Argentina and the under, which was an easy cash 2-0 winner there. But yesterday in general, it was the first 2 games. I think they hurt pretty much everybody. Denmark was just a embarrassment to say the least. Had a great Tuesday with Group A with Netherlands and Senegal both getting through, but then yesterday was a little bit of a down day. So hopefully we can rebound today. Got a good future on Croatia to qualify, so just looking for a draw out of them today. But a couple days left, and then I'm looking for the knockout stages. I can't wait for the USA match on Saturday. That should be a good one. They're catching the Dutch at the right time because the Dutch just don't look like I thought they would play coming into this tournament. So I'm excited about that match.
All right, Kev, before I go to you, Dan, can you just check Pavlos' mic? Some people say he might have been muted. Pavlos, make sure you're not muted on your end. But while we're doing that, Kev, rumor has it, well, you're killing it in NBA, but rumor has it that you're atop the leaderboard in the World Cup.
Yeah, pretty happy with that. Believe I just pipped you for the top spot last night. After you I was on Australia, you were on Denmark. I don't have a ton of sympathy for you, Carmine, to be honest. You know, you should know better than to back any country whose main claim to fame is puff pastry. So that was a big mistake on your part. But, you know, look, I'm really happy, obviously, apart from that 16-7 run there in the World Cup overall. We kind of took yesterday. We didn't take yesterday off. I have plays on every single game, but we took it off in terms of main play. It was always 2% plays across the board yesterday, but we're back today. We've got a 4% top play loaded up for, you know, tonight. Actually, a game of circle before the competition even began, so it'll be interesting to see if my theory holds up on that one. And we also have a 5% NHL Supermax play loaded up for tonight as well, so all good my end. And, you know, looking forward to these last couple of games in the World Cup group stage as well.
That's what I like to hear, Kev. And I believe you have a special on your page where someone can get a 7-day all access from Kevin Dolan. I'm just switching over there because I have to see. I might have to take advantage of it to get these plays from you. But yes, you can get a 7-day all access package from Kevin for only, I believe, $69, I believe, is the package. So head over there and take advantage of that. Pavlos, before we hit the first game, sing us a tune so we know your audio is working great. I believe we got the issue fixed.
I'm a very, very bad singer unless I drink too much, and it's 5 o'clock here. So maybe you can tell me how my speaking voice is. Can everybody hear me now?
I can hear you. And I'm sure our chat will chime in a moment. But with that said, guys, we're good. Let's get right to it because this is a big one. This one goes tomorrow. So we're not covering any games from today. Obviously, the afternoon games have such big lines on them. They're sort of straightforward. And we've provided some free plays on them. Watch Wager Talk today as I do a World Cup short every day that airs there, and we're 3-0 for the week, and we will be 4-0 after today's World Cup short gets aired. But with that said, this is a Friday game and a big one. Winner is in. Serbia needs to win this game. The line on this one, let's have a look at this. Serbia plus 156, the draw plus 232. Switzerland plus 180, and as we know, Brazil has that group pretty much locked up with 6 points. For Serbia, it's win and get in. A draw will not do them any good. A draw will get the Swiss into this one. So, Kev, I'm going to go right back to you first on this one. Can the Serbs get this done? I have an 80-1 long dark horse future on the Serbs. I thought they would at least get out of the group stages, so I'm going to need them to win this one. Any hope for me?
Yeah, well, I'm right along with you. I have an 80-1 ticket as well. So obviously, look, I'll start off by saying I like the Serbian team. Same as yourself, I did expect them to qualify from this group. Because of that, you know, I think they're going to be incredibly dangerous tomorrow night in this matchup, you know, as it is a must-win scenario for them. But, you know, saying that, you know, watching that game against Cameroon the other night, 3-1 up, they look to be cruising in that game. You just can't be letting leads slip like that through your fingers at this level. So as good as this team are offensively, you know, and obviously they are pretty good, there's just too many holes in Serbia defensively in order for me to trust taking them here against a team in Switzerland. This is arguably one of the worst teams they could have faced. They're just so well drilled, you know, in tournament football. Like they're the epitome of grinders in these sorts of competitions, and getting them here to plus quarter goal head start on Thursday, minus 150, that's on the alternative line. It just looks too good to pass up here. Cameroon were restricted to just one shot on goal in one of the halves, I believe, in the match against Switzerland, and 0.81 XG. I know we said we wouldn't mention XG in the World Cup, but just as a review of the games. You know, but compare that against Serbia, who Cameroon, they ratcheted up 13 goal attempts against and a massive 2.29 XG in that game. That was even more than Serbia managed in that one. And it just goes to show, goes to highlight, I should say, you know, how vulnerable Serbia are defensively. In terms of the amount of chances that they give up, like I said, I was high on Serbia to start this tournament. I'm hoping that 80-1 is still in play by the end of this week. A bit too early to start hedging on them here. So I'll definitely be rooting for them in this game. But this Switzerland team, like I said, they just know how to get it done. They've qualified to the knockout stages in 3 of the last 4 World Cups, including doing a number on Serbia last time out as well in the 2018 World Cup to pretty much knock them out. They beat them in Game 2 of that one. So no question, Serbia's out for revenge. They'll be dangerous, obviously, gunning for Switzerland's spot. But I just see Switzerland do, what they've done so often, what they're so good at. They'll soak up all that pressure and grind out another result here and move on, in my opinion. So I'm going to take Switzerland plus a quarter goal tomorrow on the alternative line minus 150. I think that gets to the window.
All right, Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com. And Kev, I see it. You know what I mean? One of the reasons for taking that future is I thought Serbia would get out of the group, and it's just because Switzerland, after qualifying for the World Cup, just did not look good in any of their Nations League games, any of their friendlies. They just seemed like a team that went off form. And I thought of the two, if they had to go into match day 3, that Serbia would have the advantage. But now they're obviously playing from behind, and they have no one to blame but themselves. 3-1 lead last time out against Cameroon, and they allowed them to get back into the game and draw that at 3-3. Had they won that game, we'd be looking at a completely different scenario here. With that said, Nick, give me your thoughts on this game.
I do want to say a quick reminder that while we aren't previewing today's games on today's show, we did preview the Belgium-Croatia game on Tuesday's show. I know the game's underway, but maybe there's a chance to see what we said there for that game and maybe get something in live. But really, my breakdown of this game is what Kevin said. Back to you, Carr. All right. I'm sorry. I'll break
it's a penalty. By the way, Nick, it's a penalty to Croatia right now. Croatia with a chance to go up 1-0 on Belgium. But with that said, any thoughts on this game, Nick?
Yeah. Listen, I liked I liked Tuesday's show a lot because I disagree with Kevin. But I'm going to start off this show with agreeing with the Irishman. He's right here in the situation that I think we're all on the same boat. I don't know about Pavlos, but I too am on Serbia with a long future, hoping they would get out of the group stage. But in this match right here, I don't want to comfortably put my money on them. I never trust a team that has a bad defense, and Serbia's defense is not something that I'm going to trust to protect a lead. We saw that against Cameroon, as Kevin mentioned, 3-1 lead, everything going their way. They got their eyes set on the knockout stages, and then they concede 2 to Cameroon to draw that match, and now they're in the must-win position. They are. Switzerland, they're a very tough team to beat. They showed that against Brazil. I mean, they gave Brazil fits. Brazil, it took a while for them to finally get that goal. They only allowed the Brazilians 9 shots, and we know how good Brazil is across every position on that team. You look at Serbia, who were just completely dominated by Brazil, who allowed 24 shots. It gives you an idea of what that defense can't do, I guess you could say, for the Serbians. So I don't trust it at all. And it's just simply, Switzerland, all they need to do is draw. They know how to get that result. They've proven it before. They did this 4 years ago. This group was nearly identical. They were all in the same group. Switzerland beat Serbia 2-1 in that group, and I see that kind of result happening again, even though they'd be happy with the draw here. So kind of like Kevin, he's going with the quarter of a goal line. I will do the suggestion of taking Switzerland double chance, which is for them to win or draw, because that's all they need, and combine that with under 3.5 goals, and you can get that combo at minus 110. Switzerland, there's no reason to push anything. They'll want to, maybe they'll grab that lead and just take the steam out of the game and kind of really play defensively, but they'll probably do that from the beginning anyway. This kind of a play, guys, you can grab on the same game parlay menu at DraftKings or at FanDuel. You can just simply grab double chance and under 3.5 goals in the respective tabs and just pair them together as your own parlay. But DraftKings doesn't let you parlay that stuff. You have to go specifically to that section. But that's where you'll find the play. Switzerland, double chance, and under 3.5 goals.
I like that one, Nick. I like that one a lot. Pavlos, Anthony Taylor has waved off the penalty on an offside, so it is still scoreless in that game. Give me your thoughts on Serbia and Switzerland.
This game is a lot more than soccer. Now, I'll just quickly mention some interesting stuff some facts that can possibly destroy this match and destroy our bets. I like Serbia. I'm gonna start with that. I like Serbia, even though their defense was really awful against Cameroon. It was maybe possibly to the fact that Pavlovic was one of their starting center backs who had to be subbed off at the start of the second half, and then another center back had to be subbed off shortly after, and that really kind of destroyed whatever defense strengths they used to have, because these players were set up to play alongside each other. So when a new player comes in with different traits and different weaknesses and different strengths, it kind of ruins that that balance, whatever balance they had on defense. Now I'm gonna skip forward to the non-playing factors. Switzerland, as we know, they have players from all over the world. Right, some of them were born Swiss, some of them were to Swiss parents. For multiple reasons, they have a lot non-Swiss players in their squad, and two of their best players, if not the best players, Xhaka and Shaqiri. I don't want to get political or religious, but we just have to say they're back in 2018, I believe, edition, they scored a goal for Switzerland, and then they did like a celebration, which is used by Albanians or Kosovarians. So both these players were born by Kosovarian parents, and Shaqiri was actually born in what used to be Serbia. So there's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on. But one thing's for certain: Serbians and Albanians don't really mix that much. So I expect a lot of tension between the two sides, a lot of exchange of words about families or whatever. They used to do that. Switzerland does that. We know that, and Serbians are hotheads. So I expect a heavy match, a very physical match, a lot of cards, a lot of fouls. Possibly Xhaka to be carded. He's at plus, I don't know, maybe 260 or something. But I do see the Serbians getting on top of this Switzerland side. Yes, Switzerland. They didn't. Yeah, they beat Cameroon, of course, but it was a match where they didn't really win all that easily. Cameroon should have maybe at least scored just one goal. And against Brazil, yes, they played good defense, but their offense was just horrible. And Bolo was just swallowed by that Brazil defense, which, by the way, is much better than the Serbian defense. But all things considered, I think that this Switzerland side, I know I'm going against you guys, but I do think that Serbia, if they keep their heads clear and their heads into the game and they don't get distracted by the provocations of the Swiss side, because I've been watching the Swiss side, they're really, they can really provoke, the opposing players. So if Serbia can get their head straight, I think they can win and move on to the next round. So for me, it's Serbia money line. It's dropping. It's dropped from plus 175 to plus 162. I'll still take it.
All right, Pavlos, thank you for that one. Let's move on to the next game, guys. Netherlands and USA. This is the Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern time feature. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. Netherlands minus 110, the draw plus 235, and the USA plus 347 after their big win over Iran to get them into the knockout stages. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. I'm going to be sitting in the sports book 7 a.m. in the morning, Vegas time, because I fly out tomorrow, and I'll be watching it at Circa Sports. But with that said, give me your thoughts. Netherlands, USA, who do you like?
Well, I'll say from the outset, I have a 4% futures play on the Netherlands to reach the quarterfinals, which obviously will cash if they win here. So I'll certainly be cheering on the Orange to cash that ticket. But from a straight up match point, I think this is going to be a very tough game for Netherlands on Saturday. You could look at this USA team, obviously, and definitely pick holes in them. They've been poor offensively. They've netted just 3 goals since June. But saying that, there's a chemistry in this team that, if I was betting this game individually, I just don't want to get in the way of here. We see this pretty much in every major tournament where, one team will surprise. South Korea in 2002, I think Russia 2008, Ghana 2010, Denmark as well in last summer's Euros as well. An overperforming team, and maybe America or this year's surprise package. Who knows? Regardless of whether or not that's the case, Netherlands just simply haven't impressed me over this tournament so far. They took absolutely ages to break down Senegal in that opening game. They should have lost outright against Ecuador as well in match day 2. Ecuador must be absolutely kicking themselves with that long flight home for letting that one slip away. And they beat Qatar also, but they didn't even cover the line in that game against probably the worst team to ever take part in a World Cup. So, Gakpo's netted 3 times for Netherlands in their 5 goals. That can't last. The Netherlands, I'm going to mention it again, Carmine, don't get angry, but the Netherlands created just a total of just 0.59 XG per game across those games against Senegal and Ecuador. So taking out the Qatar, 2 good teams, they just can't get it done. That's one of the lowest chances created marks in the entire tournament so far. From an individual standpoint as well, Gakpo has scored those 3 goals from a combined total of just 0.26 XG. So the Netherlands are living off smoke and mirrors right now. I'm hoping, obviously, from a futures perspective, that they have enough to get over the line here against the USA on Saturday. But honestly, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the USA, did a number on the Dutch here. And knocked them out on Saturday. So, yeah, it's got to be USA for me here, plus a half-goal head start on Saturday. As I said, I just haven't been impressed with the Dutch, and I expect the Americans to cause them some serious issues this weekend, the round of 16.
All right, Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com. I'm not muted that time, which is great. Nick, I'm going to go to you next on this one. I'm looking forward to it. I was surprised when these numbers first came out. And the Netherlands opened up at 118. So not a lot of movement, but it dropped to 110. It could be because some money from U.S. faithfuls coming in, or it's just one that may be correlated to the fact that the total is not even 2.5. It's 2.25 in this one. Give me your thoughts.
I can't help but laugh here because my wife's in the background going, wait, Kevin's saying all the same things that you wrote down. Don't you like to disagree with that guy? And I'm like, usually I do like to disagree with that guy, but for whatever reason, he's on it today. And I can't agree with Kevin more on a lot of his points, although I'll suggest going with the under instead of just taking the U.S. here. And you're right, Carm, about the money. It's going to be, it already has been, pouring in on the U.S., and that's just people betting with their hearts, right? They want to see the U.S. do it, and there's a lot of people in the U.S. that are just going to completely play the game and not know a dang thing about what they're doing. So my guess is this will be one of the biggest holdings and liabilities that the books are going to have of any match with the U.S. here. But anyway, this has all the makings of a tight, cagey affair. USA, they've proven they're not a side that is going to win games by scoring goals. And the reason they're here is because their defense, which has been very good so far in Qatar. They held Wales to 1 goal and 7 shots in the first match. They held England scoreless, of course, on 8 shots. And then they punched their ticket over Iran, only them scoreless on 6 shots. So that's an average of just 7 shots per game that they're allowing, which of the 16 teams that have completed group stage so far, that ranks 3rd behind only France at 6.7 and Argentina at a ridiculous 3.3. So they're in good company defensively, that is. But offensively, they know they're not going to win a lot of games by scoring goals, and they just simply cannot afford to get into that style of a game. For the Dutch, you guys already said it. Offensively, they just look like a shell of themselves. I was high on them coming in here after how good they looked kind of during the fall in the Nations League. And I know that, competition isn't the strongest thing to measure on, but they looked very, very good, and they look like a team that could score at will, but that is certainly not the case. Kevin, you're absolutely right about the Ecuador game. How Netherlands somehow earned a point out of that match is beyond me. Ecuador just beat them silly all over the field. So they are damn lucky to even be here. But I just see this game being very, very close. I don't know if the U.S. is really quite ready to make that next big step and they don't have the experience in this, obviously, environment and in this kind of setup to be able to get over the hump. They can. And I think one bounce of the ball is likely to determine this match, and that's why I'm a little torn on just taking the U.S. because it could be just one mistake or one random, like I said, bounce that goes the Dutch's way, and all of a sudden they win 1-0. But either way, I think it's going to be very close, and I think it's going to be not very fun as far as an offensive game. So it'll probably be a very tight one. Low scoring is the only way U.S. is going to play, and they've held everybody they needed to low scoring games. So I'm going to go under. It's 2.25, as you mentioned, Carm. I think that's just fine to play. This thing might not get a goal in it. So under 2.25 goals for me here, guys.
Could be very well. It's the first knockout stage game, and it could be the first game that obviously goes into extra extra time and or penalties. I would love to see penalties in the first one. Pavlos, my man, you got the final word on this one. Let us know where you're looking at.
I know it's weird to say it, but I'm looking towards Netherlands, guys. I mean, they've severely underperformed so far in this tournament, but I do think they have a lot of aces up their sleeves, mainly because of their coach, Louis van Gaal, who is just a mastermind in these types of situations. I believe it's his third or fourth. I think it's his third World Cup coaching the Netherlands, and I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow intentionally masked or he showed that his team has weaknesses in order to it's a good tactic to do that, and because your opponents underestimate you, and then they make mistakes. So I think this is the easiest draw for the Netherlands, simply because USA. Yes, I have tremendous respect for this USA side. I believe it was 1 year ago where I said that USA are going to win the World Cup, just not this one, the next one. So they have a lot of talent in that squad, very young squad. I love what I'm seeing. However, they're not ready. They're not ready. The coach is, doesn't have the experience over Luis van Gaal. So, and two other things that have me worried is the injury status of both Pulisic and McKennie. So I'm not so sure if Pulisic will be able to make it, and whatever other option USA have on the offense is just subpar. And now, yes, USA, they struggled. Yes, they scored 1 goal against Wales, but Wales are Wales. I mean, they've lost whatever defensive strengths they had in previous years. So far in 2022, they concede goals left and right. So I wasn't surprised to see them score against Wales. They had a shot at the crossbar against England, but they went scoreless. And against Iran, yes, it was Pulisic who, scored the only goal of the match. But again, his status is uncertain. I think he's not going to play. I'm not really sure about it. I just look at the team news much closer to kickoff. But if Pulisic is out, I think USA have really no way to win this. So. And the Netherlands, again, they're going to play massive defense, and they know that they can shut the USA out. So I like some plus money play here. I like Netherlands to win 2-0 at plus 160. I think this is a 1-0, 2-0 type of situation. Netherlands have one of the best defenses, at least on paper, in this tournament. They have Ake, plays for Manchester City. They have Van Dijk, who plays for Liverpool, and Timber, who is one of the best, if not the best, young defender in the Netherlands. So I do see this match playing like a 1-0, 2-0 for the Netherlands.
All right, Pavlos, Laguretos of Sports Memo. Guys, our final game, and this is on Sunday, another knockout stage game. The Three Lions, the winners of their group, taking on Senegal. And that one came down to the last match day, Senegal beating Ecuador to snipe that last spot there. The price on this one, England minus 191. The draw is plus 292, and Senegal plus 663. Of course, Senegal are without their main striker, who has not played in this tournament, Sadio Mane. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Personally, I want to see England obviously win this one, because if France wins their game, it sets up a beautiful quarterfinal matchup between England and France. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, my Senegalese passports, I've applied for a one-day pass to become a citizen for the day. Support my boys. In terms of England, look, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but I obviously watched that game, watched every game. I watched that game against Wales on Tuesday. And while, we gave out in Tuesday's show, I said England -1, cash the ticket there. That has to be one of the most flattering, misleading scorelines for a team who they looked average in that game for 95% of that game. I mean, you wouldn't look at that England performance and go, oh, this team's going to go on and win the World Cup. So, look, this is a drum I've personally been banging since last summer's Euros, at least. Southgate, man, his tactics stink. supporters of him will obviously go, look, he got us to the World Cup semi-final 4 years ago. He got us to last year's Euro final against Italy as well. But he's supposed to do that. Look at the team he's inherited. In both of those cases, England were blessed with ridiculously easy progression. Finished second behind Belgium in 2018 in that group. Had to get past Colombia and Sweden to make the semi-final. Has there ever been an easier run to a World Cup semi-final than beating Colombia and Sweden? They couldn't even do that. They had to go to penalties against Colombia as well. And again in last year's Euros, they got to the final, fair play. Again, it's in London. You're supposed to be getting to a final with that kind of squad. So this isn't an attack on England. I'm personally glad Southgate is the man in charge of this English team, because if they had someone who knew what they were doing, this team could win the World Cup. But I just can't see it with him in charge. I think he cost this team. They keep getting out of jail through individual moments of brilliance. Margaret Rashford's free kick against Wales, sublime stuff. Saka's long-range shot in off the post against Iran as well. That's how England are navigating through these games, because they're certainly not Southgate's tactical awareness and a coach. And as I said, I believe he holds them back. So we know how Senegal are going to sit up here. They're going to try and be physical from the get-go. I think Koulibaly did a magnificent job marshalling that defence against Ecuador last time out. Ecuador, as we said in the Netherlands preview, are a good side. And this is a player who knows the English game as well, playing for Chelsea. So my only hesitancy in backing Senegal to get a result in this game is in that attack and third. Ismail Assar, his pace is a problem for England, likely. But beyond him, Senegal really don't have a lot of elite options to work with in offence. But in terms of that midfield, I've been a huge fan of Idrissa Gueye for a number of years. Really like him, really like his work rate. He's an engine in that midfield. I expect him to cause problems for the English. The defence, as we said, of Koulibaly as well. So I'm expecting Senegal to bring a pretty physical battle to this game. Again, it's a game that's likely to be decided, I should say, by only, yet another moment of individual brilliance likely coming from England. So I'm going to take the winning margin prop on this one. England to win by exactly one goal at plus 240. I like that value. I think Senegal are going to surprise a lot of people in this game by how well, how close they keep it against England. But, ultimately, just because of their kind of weak attack, I just believe they'll fall short here. Not quite have enough. So, yeah, I'm going to take England to win by exactly one goal for me at plus 240. But in terms of a long term, I just do not see this team winning an overall.
All right, Kev, a moment of individual brilliance. It's what the doctors told my mom when she gave birth to me. I was really happy to hear that story later on. Guys, I will do the recaps of all three games and what the guys on the show have at the end of this preview here. But let's go to Nick and then Pavlos, and then we'll do the recaps before we close off the show. Nick, give me your thoughts on this game.
Well, I was really hoping you'd come to me before, Kevin, because the worst thing that could happen today is I agree with Kevin 3 times. So thankfully, I'm not in complete agreement with him. My play is not against him by any means, but the one thing I disagree with that he said is that I do think Senegal can get on the board here. I'm just not fully confident in England's defense. Yes, they kept 2 clean sheets. The Wales game was an anomaly, as Kevin said. I mean, Wales had to play out of their comfort zone to try to get a result there and push for goals, even though they were terrible at it and had no chances whatsoever. But against the USA, match day 2, the USA, you could easily make the argument they're the better team on the field, and they had a couple good chances to score in that game. The Americans just lack the finisher. Senegal doesn't have great finishers, but they have proven that they can get chances, and that's what I'm going to bank on here. So I'm going to hope for the one of these chances to go in. But in the 3 matches they've had in the group stage so far, they're averaging nearly 14 shots per game, 1.56 expected goals. And yes, they had Qatar in the group, but actually most of their offense came against Ecuador, as Kevin said, who are very, very good side and really are unlucky not to be in this group or knockout stage. And then, of course, against the Dutch as well, even though they didn't score in that game, they had their chances. So I think because of that, I agree with Kevin in the fact that England's most likely going to get over the hump here and find a way to win this match. I do not think it will be easy. Koulibaly, as Kevin also mentioned, he's one of the best in the business defensively, and I think that's where Senegal's strength is going to be on England to keep them tight and play them physical. But I think there's enough chances in this game that Senegal will get that if you pair the England money line and both teams to score, you can get over 3-1 on your money. And I feel like that's such a good price that I have to get a little piece of that action, because I think there'll be enough chances for Senegal to get a goal. It's just, can we get that conversion? And to me, it's like, well, 3. Will they convert it more than 1 and 3 times? I think they will. So I'm going to take England to win the game. And of course, because this is a knockout match, Carm, you already mentioned the possibility of extra time and penalties. Just know for most of your wagers here for the viewers, it's going to be graded on just those 90 minutes of stoppage time. The extra time and the penalties aren't going to count unless you're taking things like to advance or to advance the next round. So this match is just the 90 minutes. It's England to win. If it goes extra time, this match is lost. But England to win and both teams to score over 3-1 on your money. I think it's just too good to pass up.
All right, Nick Borrman, Pavlos, 90 seconds to get us a preview of this game.
Right, Senegal, they play really good in first halves. In 3 first halves so far in the World Cup, they haven't conceded a single goal, and they haven't allowed a single shot on target. Against Netherlands, the Netherlands had 3 shots in the first half, 0 shots on target. Against Qatar had 2 shots, 0 on target. Against Ecuador, Ecuador had 1 shot and 0 on target. And so it's safe to say that they were not losing in any of the 3 first halves so far in the World Cup. Now, England. Yes, they blasted Iran by they scored 3 first half goals in that first match, but Iran, they had their best goalkeeper injured in the 20th minute. That really shook the entire team and the entire defense. I take that result with a grain of salt. Then a goalless first half against USA and a goalless match overall. Then against Wales, it was a draw in the first half. And when you look statistically in the last 16 matches in the World Cup so far, the Nations League and the World Cup qualifiers prior to that, they were only winning at halftime on 5 occasions. And these teams were like San Marino, Albania, Andorra twice. So I really think this is going to be a very, very tight first half. Senegal have a really tight defense with Koulibaly and Mendy and all the other players. I think they're really going to be very careful not to concede 1 goal, because England, if they score a quick goal, then they can score a second one. So I think they're going to be very, very careful in that first half. That's why I don't see Senegal losing in that first half. Price is not great, but I'm taking the first half Senegal double chance or plus half a goal at -140. -145.
All right, Pavlos Laguretos with his pick. All right, guys, let's look at the recaps of this one. First, Serbia and Switzerland. Nick with Switzerland, double chance and under 3.5. Pavlos with Serbia, money line. Kevin with Switzerland. Those two are going mano a mano. Netherlands, USA. Let's have a look at those. Nick is on under 2 in this one. Pavlos, Netherlands win to 0, and Kevin, USA plus half. A 1-0 Netherlands win. A scoreless gets everyone there, I think. Maybe not. And then the final one, England and Senegal. Nick with England and both teams to score. Pavlos, Senegal first half. I like that one. And Kevin, England to win by exactly 1 goal plus 240. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. There is no show next Tuesday, as there's no games on Wednesday and Thursday in between some of the knockout stage games and the quarterfinals. But we will be back on Thursday to cover some games that go on Friday and the following weekend. For myself, Nick Borrman, Kevin Dolan, and Pavlos Laguretos, this is Stoppage Time World Cup Edition. Thank you for tuning in, and good luck with your wagers.
You're a winner at WagerTalk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid WagerTalk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?